going on? This is Kevin Frasard. I am 5'9". I weigh currently 190 pounds. I am an IPE natural pro bodybuilder. I got my pro card a little over 2 years ago, April of 2017. Cliff Wilson was my coach at the time, and I took you through today I guess you could call it an off-season max OT workout. Not really. I don't really have any competitive plans. Took you through a back, bicep, and forearm training routine. So I guess that's all I have to say. Have a nice day, Jeff. Just kidding. But no, and you guys have been following, several years in the past. I've always been a big believer, big advocate of max OT. Basically, what it is, it's like a low volume, low rep. It focuses on compound movements, just going as heavy as you can within a 4 to 6 rep range, low volume, like I just mentioned. And it really, really helps with your strength. I got very, very good results with it when I started. I started incorporating it into my training like around 2006, 2007. At that point, I had been training about 8 or 9 years, and I ran into a couple plateaus, and I was just trying to find a way to break through that. And I happened to come across one of my old bodybuilding magazines, and I saw Skip LaCour in that, and I Googled his name and I found this max OT training routine, and it sounded pretty interesting. It sounded like it might fit me, so I started following it, and I haven't looked back since. I mean, since I started doing that routine, I have kind of dabbled with a little bit of different training styles, but I always gravitate back to the low volume, high intensity kind of training, because that just seems to work the best for me. But so basically, when I started with the T-bar row, and we loaded that up as heavy as we possibly could, which you'll see in the video. Went up to like 6 plates, got a good set of 6 reps there. I have one of these mag grips right here, which I started incorporating. I want to say I got these maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And the whole reason that I ended up getting these bars is I was dealing with some bicep tendonitis. And that type of grip that's on these handles was, I was able to kind of work around my bicep tendonitis, and I picked up a couple of these bars. I got about 3 of them, and I really, really like them for back. So if you guys are ever interested in something different, any kind of gym accessories, I highly recommend giving them a try. We started as far as working the lats after we did back thickness on the T-bar row machine. We jumped over to the pull down, so I used this bar. And we did 2 or 3 sets there, 4 to 6 reps. I think I got 6 both sets. And this grip is a pronated grip, so pretty much what it is instead of it being faced, outward like this, it's faced in towards you. And it doesn't bother me as much as, say, like for instance, when I do, it hasn't been bothering me lately, not as much. I kind of went back to just, you'll see in the video, doing traditional pull-ups with the traditional overhand grip. That was bothering me for quite a few years. I've been training, this September will be 22 years that I've been training total. So I've been through a lot, to say the least, as far as, really, really pushing the weights and just trying to get better. So these grips really take away that, that constant tension that was really bothering my bicep tendonitis. So once I got 1 bar and it felt great, I picked up another couple extra bars that had a supinated grip on it, and I was able to work around it really good with that. So I haven't really gone back since, but I've been slowly getting back into the traditional exercises like the pull downs, doing just a regular overhand grip. And you'll see we did it at the end of the workout. It was a little bit of a battle because everything was pretty much fried at that point. And then on top of it, with the kind of lifestyle I do, the kind of work I'm doing, wheeling out boats, being outside in the sun. That's why I had this insane tan going on. But so like my back and my shoulders were already pretty taxed when I got in here. But 2 hours of sleep too, I might add. But it doesn't matter. I still come in here and I just try to give it the best I got every time. Go ahead. That's right. So then we moved on to our third exercise, where I just kind of wanted to go for a little bit more of an isolated type of bent over row, where I put my forehead, I'll put a t-shirt on the end of the incline bench, and I'll bend over and I'll do dumbbell rows that way. because I hit a sticking point on my bent over traditional barbell row. So in order for me to kind of get past that, like I'll give it a couple workouts. If I can't progress, I will go on to a different exercise, like for instance that isolation exercise, and I'll keep progressing on that. Once I hit stagnation on that, I'll go back to the barbell row, and I should be a little bit stronger at that point. So that's kind of what I do. And then finally, we got to the pull-ups. That was the final exercise. I just my body weight to see how many I could go up to failure. And I think I got a set of 12 reps, and then I think the second set, which was the final set to conclude back, I got 9 reps. And I was pretty much done at that point. And we moved on to biceps. And I started with really heavy hammer curls, 4 to 6 reps, 2 sets. Started with the 80s. Those felt really good. I liked my execution on that. With Max OT training, you try not to be overly strict on your form. You want a little bit of loose form, not too sloppy, not too strict, so kind of in between there. And the way the 80s felt, I felt like I could go up another 5 pounds, which I did on the second set. I went up to 85s, and it felt like I added another 20 pounds to each arm. It felt insane, but you know what? You got to push yourself. So I gave it a try, and I think I got 4 good ones, and then the 5th rep on each arm started to get a little bit sloppy. So that's just something I got to keep working at as the weeks progress. And then we moved on to arm blaster easy bar curls, which actually I remember the first time I ever tried the arm blaster. I remember I played around with it, and I'm like, this thing's stupid. It's just some gimmick. Just go back to my free weight compound exercises. Well, I remember when I first tried that thing, it was actually in here when I first signed up, which was back in January. I was bored, so I wanted to try something different. I threw that thing on. I fell in love with it. I ended up buying my own. So I incorporate that every now and then, which we did today. So we did two heavy sets with that arm blaster, and you're still able to give it a little bit of loose form, so you can still overload the biceps. So we did 2 heavy sets, 4 to 6 on there as well. We moved on to preacher curl machine. I just wanted to finish out biceps with that. So we did 2 working sets there, threw 345s on there, and I actually just randomly picked the right weight for that because I failed right at the 6th rep. So 2 sets there. And then we moved on to mandatory forearms. Anytime you guys watch, and when I do a video with Saigo, we have to do forearms. It's mandatory. So next time, if we end up hitting quads and hamstrings, it's going to be forearms right after that, every time. So yeah, we started with just a basic bread and butter barbell wrist curls on the bench. I did 2 working sets. That's where we'll take the reps up just a little bit. We'll go to 6 to 8 reps on that. And I think I went up to 145, I believe, and did 2 sets of 8 with that. Forearms were pretty taxed after doing the hammer curls, so that was a little bit challenging. Then we moved on to just doing standing dumbbell wrist curls. Went up to the 90s. That felt pretty heavy too. So and then on top of it, with what I do at work, so my forearms were pretty fried, but I still was able to push some halfway decent weight. Got 8 reps, and then next week I'll try to push to the 95s and go from there. Just try to keep progressing, keep beating my logbook. And then finally I finished up with it's an exercise that I just kind of made up on the fly. I made up about a month ago, where you just grab a handle, an overhead cable, and you cock your wrist in like this. It's kind of like it's an exercise that I've been doing for years that I kind of stumbled onto. I call it a T-Rex curl. So it's a reverse curl, but you'll cock your wrist towards you, and then you'll curl in this way, and it blasts your forearms. If you guys never tried it, it really, really hits your forearms like crazy. But I kind of did a variation of that from the top cable. So you just kind of lock that in position and only focus on your forearms. I mean, you could see it just instantly just makes it do all the work. So we finished up with a couple working sets of 8 reps there, and that was it. Hit a couple poses, and here we are.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your music thing.
So I've always been really old school with music. Like, I can tune anything out. I can walk into any gym. It does not matter what's going on, what's playing on the radio, what's going on around me. I can tune anything and everything out. And I just don't like, when I'm training, having earbuds or anything dangling around my ears, just something extra that I have to subconsciously think about. I don't want any part of it. So I do just fine without music, and I always have been, and I will never go back. Now, an exception to that rule would be if I'm getting ready for a show and I'm doing cardio, or if it's just I'm really digging deep where I'm like that last 6-8 weeks out and I just don't want to be bothered. And if it's like an arm day or something like that where it's not going to bother me too much, it'll hopefully deter people from trying to come up and, ask me the questions. Because that's what, yeah, you're so cloudy, man, and you just, you'll snap. I mean, the moment somebody even looks at you and just wants to say hi, you just want to bite their head off, and I feel bad for people, but that's just kind of how we get when we get that lean, and we just want so bad to just win, So that's an exception, and then obviously doing the cardio where I can just kind of zone out and just think, I'll listen to my crazy metal that I love, and just kind of zone out, and that's the only time I'll incorporate music, though. Any other time, absolutely not. It just gets in the way. Right now, I got between 230 and 250 grams of protein, 200 to 250 carbs, so it's about the same. And then my fat's around 60 to 70 a day. And I have not, since it was about 2 weeks ago, that was the first time since November when I went deer hunting with my dad, where I kind of dirtied up my diet. I ended up getting, it started with a small pizza, a deep dish pizza, and then I went next door to a party store and I got a half a gallon of cookies and cream ice cream, smashed both of those things. Felt horrible. And then, just got right back on everything. And then I lost a pound. Thought that was pretty funny because I was stuck at, 191, 192. And then all of a sudden when I weighed in a couple days later, I was down to 190, like 189, 190. I was grazing right there. But, no, I always just try to keep the diet nice and clean. It just for me, when I get far enough away from a contest prep, I'm not thinking about food anymore. I'm actually a lot more disciplined with the way I eat when I don't have a deadline or some kind of weight burden on me where I feel like I have an obligation. And I think as a bodybuilder, you should look the part, and, that's just kind of what I believe in. It's about health. It always has been. Every once in a while, if I'm kind of heading out the gym or I'm with, my friend and she needs a little help pushing herself, she's not really having a good day, you know what, I'll stay after, we'll do 20 minutes, half hour together and kind of catch up on life. And it helps her, it helps me sometimes, because sometimes I get rained out at my job and I didn't walk around that day, I was kind of lazy. So yeah, I'll kind of throw a cardio or two per week in that reason. I always got to thank my dad because without his genetics and without his work ethic that he put into me as a little kid, I would not be where I am right now. With guitar playing, which, again, you guys followed me on YouTube, I'm really, really big on playing guitar, playing my death metal, my thrash metal. If you guys haven't checked it out, just my first and last name, Kevin Frasard, you can find me there. I love playing metal. I love... Right on, cool. Yeah, if you guys are into metal music or anything like that, just watching, guitar videos and stuff, I have plenty of that. And every now and then I'll throw in some bodybuilding stuff like we're doing today. And but primarily I got more focused in the music for, the next few years, and then catching up on a lot of downtime that I missed with my dad. Like, we've been fishing and hunting together. He retired from Chrysler. I helped him move into his retirement home, and we've been catching up on a lot of missed time and opportunities to see each other. So I don't know when I'm going to get back on stage. I know that was probably your next question. At this point, I really don't know. I got that pro card, and like that was everything to me. Getting that natural pro card was absolutely everything to me. I always wanted that. That was 20 years in the making, and I finally did it. I probably could have did it 10 years ago, but I might have been physically there, but I wasn't mentally there. So, now that I got that, I kind of got comfortable, and I really want to spend time with my dad and do these other hobbies that I neglected for, 22 years of my life, just because this was all I cared about. This was all I did. I did. I still played. My videos were kind of lazy or just sporadic in between, like as far as YouTube went. But I mean, I all these years I've sacrificed a lot just to look like something as a bodybuilder, because it was just everything. I would put this number one, and my job's kind of like my job, music, friendships, I mean, you get really selfish when you get into this lifestyle, but you know, for some people, if you want to be the best, if you know that's what you got to do to win, you'll do it, and that's what that's what I did. That's what I felt like I had to do. You know, and every time I get done with a contest prep, there's a lot of people that I got to say sorry to, or just, you know, because you're a totally different person. You're just so tunnel vision, one track mind, because you want to win. You don't want anybody else to take your prize that you're up there after. When you come out there on stage, you don't want anybody else looking at anyone else but you. It's like when you walk underneath those stage lights, you want all eyes on you. You're there to win, and they're giving it to you. They got to figure out who else is second, because I'm not going to be second. And that's the mindset that I go into every time I get ready for a show.